Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara and let's start off by taking a look at your headlines.
Tragic accident on Southern Expressway. Father and daughter dead. Heroin seized in international waters, brought to Colombo. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa flies overseas. Adverse weather forecast with heavy showers expected in several parts of the country. Ministry of Health advises to obtain booster dose against COVID. Omicron reported in 77 countries.
In some tragic news, multiple motor accidents reported this morning claimed 4 lives and injured several others.
A father and his daughter were reported dead after their car met with an accident at the 18th kilometre post in Gallengama on the Southern Expressway. 3 others were injured and admitted to hospital, and the deceased were identified as a 39-year-old man and his 4-year-old daughter. Police said the early morning tragedy took place when the car travelling from Matara to Kottava veered off the road and toppled over. The mother and her other child, who received injuries following the accident, were admitted to the intensive care unit at the General Hospital in Nagoda Kalutara. Another injured was admitted to the Horana Base Hospital. The railway control room said that the railway operations towards Colombo was delayed due to the collision between a train and a tipper truck at a railway crossing, and the situation has now returned to normalcy. The accident was reported in Meedigama this morning when a train bound to Colombo from Ramokana collided with the tipper truck. The accident occurred at 5:50 this morning. The driver of the tipper truck sustained injuries following the accident. A mother and her son were reported dead after their motorcycle veered off the road and crashed onto a tree in Madampe. The 53-year-old mother and her son, aged 23, were ruled dead following the accident. The accident had occurred when the duo returned after visiting a patient in Anuradhapura. Police said the deceased are residents of Katana.
In headline-making stories this afternoon, the foreign fishing vessel intercepted by Sri Lankan Navy in international water with 250 kilograms of heroin on the 11th of December was brought to the Colombo Port today.
A special operation mounted by the Navy in international waters led to intercept a foreign fishing vessel carrying a large consignment of narcotics with 6 suspects aboard. After several days of continuous surveillance in the international waters, about 900 nautical miles south of Sri Lanka, this operation was carried out by the Sri Lankan Navy with assistance of the Police Narcotics Bureau based on information received. It is believed that 225 packets of narcotics contained in 9 sacks weighing over 250 kilograms. According to authorities, the suspects are Pakistan and Iranian nationals. The seized narcotics were displayed to media for the first time today, and Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne was also present.
Ministry of Finance Basil Rajapaksa left Sri Lanka this morning on an overseas visit. The duty manager of the Katunayake airport stated that the minister had left for Dubai on an Emirates flight at 2:55 in the morning. Meanwhile, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa also left the island on a private visit on Monday. In more local news, the company that signed the agreement for the transfer of shares of the Yucadanavi power plant was in fact registered in February this year. This was revealed by President's Counsel Tesat Vijay Gunawardana, the legal secretary of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya.
We did some research on NFE Sri Lanka Power Holdings LLC. This is registered in Delaware, USA on the 23rd of February 2021. It is a very young company. Based on the information available online, the value of this company is simply $300. It is with this company that Sri Lanka is signing an agreement to transfer 40% of shares of the Yucadanavi power plant. Based on the information available in the cabinet paper, there is no need to produce it to the Attorney General and there is no need to return it to the cabinet. This is a gross violation of the country's law. This is most likely the most corrupt deal in Sri Lankan history.
ඒ වගේම නැවත කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමේ අවශ්‍යතාවයකුත් නැහැ. මේක මේ රටේ නීතිය බරපතල ලෙස උල්ලංඝනය කිරීමයි. ඒ වගේම මේක මේ රටේ මං හිතන්නේ මේ තාක් වෙච්ච දූෂිතම ගනුදෙනුවක්.
The tender pertaining to the construction of the East Container Terminal of the Colombo Port has been granted to two companies. Secretary to the Ministry of Ports and Shipping, UDC Jayalal, stated that the tender was granted to the China Harbour Engineering Company and a local company following an international tender process.
He added that both companies would engage in the construction of the East Container Terminal together. The construction cost of the East Container Terminal, amounting to approximately $200 million, will be borne by the Ports Authority. The Secretary to the Ministry of Ports and Shipping said that the total cost of purchasing equipment and machinery for construction purposes will amount to $282 million.
Drifting your attention to an ongoing problem in the country, Sri Lankan farmers are yet to be given a proper and permanent solution to the ongoing fertilizer crisis. Farmers in Madiragiriya have been left helpless after using liquid fertilizer provided by the state to replace chemical fertilizer.
The government provided locally produced organic liquid fertilizer to farmers of the Megaswava village in Madiragiriya to cultivate for this Maha season. Farmers say that their vegetable cultivations have been destroyed completely as an adverse effect of this fertilizer. These plants must be grown to a certain extent now. It is not even a foot tall. You can't farm with these fertilizers. There is no harvest. We have sprayed liquid fertilizer twice already, but there is no favorable result. This is useless.
Look at this. We sprayed half a tank of organic liquid fertilizer on these plants. The plants seem to be dying. What has happened to these plants? We stopped using it afterwards. Now this whole lot is useless. The organic fertilizer given to us is useless. We invest our hard-earned money in these cultivations. I don't think we can get a return on our investment.
Farmers use the government-provided organic liquid fertilizer, hoping for a better yield from their harvests. But that was not the case. Their cultivations have been destroyed completely. Farmers demand the government to pay them adequate compensation for the losses. State Minister Duminda Disanayake says that the government has failed to implement the decisions taken by the Agriculture Department and the Fertilizer Secretariat. He made these remarks during a meeting at the Pahalamileva Divisional Secretariat in Mintale. Farmers expressed their grievances to the State Minister over the lack of fertilizer.
ඉතාමත් තුච්චයි කියන තැන තමයි මිනිස්සුන්ගේ අදහස් තියෙන්නේ. අපි දන්නවා දැන් මේ වෙලාව තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකද දෙනවයි කියලා කිව්වට තාම ගොවින් අතේ පොර ටික නැහැ අත්ත කතා. උත්තර රෑන ටීවී එකේ කිව්වත් සේරම හරි දෙනවා වෙලාවට දෙනවා කිව්වට අත්ත කතාව බිමේ ගොවි මහත්තුරු ගාව මේක නැහැ. හරි වෙලාවට මේ ටික නැති වුණාට පස්සේ ආයි මේක දුන්නට වැඩකුත් නැහැ. නෑ වැඩක් නැහැ. පුද්ගලිකයිස කට්ටිය කැමති වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ කන්නේ කොහොම හරි මේක නොදී හිටියා නම් ලබන පාර අපේ 12000 කිව්වන්න පුළුවන්. ඒගොල්ලෝ බලන්නේ මේගේ ලාභනේ. ආණ්ඩුවක් විදිහටයි කුෂිකර්ම දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව විදිහටයි පොරලේකම් කාර්යාලය විදිහටයි ගත්ත තීන්දුව තාම ක්‍රියාත්මක කරගන්න බැරිලා තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි ඇත්ත කතාව.
The Chinese ambassador to Sri Lanka is planning on a tour of the northern part of the island in a backdrop where Sri Lankan farmers are facing issues without fertilizer, and the government is on the verge of deciding to pay compensation to the Chinese fertilizer ship. The Chinese embassy confirmed that the Chinese ambassador Qi Shenghong will be on a 3-day tour of the northern part of the island starting today. The Chinese ambassador is to meet the northern province governor Jeevan Tyagaraja during the tour. He is also to distribute fishing equipment and subsidies to fishing communities of the Jaffna and Mannar districts. State Minister Nalaka Godava was grilled by journalists today for his comments after 11 constituent parties in the government criticised the state during a special meeting in Ahaliyagoda.
Not everyone gets a subject that they desire. Same with me. However, what is important is to fulfill the given responsibilities. As long as one can fulfill their responsibilities within their limits, we can be a successful government. Yes, it is a problem about different opinions within the government. The people have the right to know these details. So I believe the people will evaluate and make the right decision. When the government has a certain direction, it cannot be deviated. This is what went wrong for the good governance government. So I believe in 2022, the President, Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers will discuss the matters in detail and bring all to one direction. We cannot make this a successful journey without doing so.
Deputy Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath urged the public to get the booster dose of the vaccine against COVID as soon as possible, as the spread of COVID-19 in Sri Lanka is likely to increase during the upcoming festive season.
We see that with the festive season, it's likely that an increase in the number of cases will take place. In such a situation, if we have already received the booster shot, the probability of getting infected and the complications of being infected with COVID-19 virus and the COVID-19 related deaths could be minimized. Therefore, before this festive season begins, if we get the booster vaccine, we could be protected and work towards reducing the number of patients. Therefore, we urge the general public to go and get the booster shot or the third dose or the vaccine immediately.
මේ තුන්වන මාත්‍රාව හෝ බූස්ට් එන්නත ලබා ගැනීම වැදගත් වෙනවා. අපි සියලු දෙනාගේ මේ නිසයි ඉල්ලා සිටින්නේ අදම ගොස් තමන්ට නියමිත එන්නත ලබා ගන්න කියලා.
The World Health Organization has warned that the new coronavirus variant Omicron is spreading across the globe at an unprecedented rate.
Cases of the heavily mutated variant have been confirmed in 77 countries. But at a press conference, the World Health Organization chief, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, said it was probably in many others that had yet to detect it. Tedros said he was concerned that not enough was being done to tackle the variant. The Omicron variant was first identified in South Africa in November, and the country has since seen a surge in infections. President Cyril Ramaphosa has tested positive for COVID-19 and is currently isolating with mild symptoms. More than 800,000 Americans have now died from the COVID-19, the highest recorded national death toll from the global pandemic. It comes as the US reached 50 million confirmed cases of COVID-19 on Monday. Most deaths have been recorded among the unvaccinated and the elderly, and more Americans died in 2021 than in 2020. The US is again seeing deaths rising at an alarming rate. Adults in England must now show a COVID pass to enter nightclubs, big sport matches and other large events, despite nearly 100 Conservative MPs voting against the government's plan. The new rules, which kick in today, require proof of double vaccination or a recent negative test to enter certain venues.
In your weather update, the northeast monsoon has established over the island. The Met Department stated that the low-level atmospheric disturbance to the south of Sri Lanka can be intensified into a low-pressure area during the next 24 hours. Under the influence of the system, cloudy skies can be expected in the southern half of the island. Showers will occur at times in the eastern, central, Uva and southern provinces and in Polonnaruwa district. Fairly heavy falls of above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern province and in the Anuradhapura district. Showers or thunder showers will occur elsewhere during the evening or night. Fairly heavy falls of about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in these areas. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. The embassy in Washington, D.C. said the United Arab Emirates has informed the United States that it is suspending discussions on a $23 billion weapons deal that includes advanced F-35 aircrafts.
In a statement, the embassy said the UAE would suspend discussions on the sale, while meetings at the Pentagon scheduled for later this week between the two sides on other issues would proceed as planned. The embassy said, quote, "The US remains the UAE's preferred provider of advanced defense requirements and discussions for the F-35 may be reopened in the future," end quote. A UAE official told foreign media in a statement that technical requirements, sovereign operational restrictions and cost-benefit analysis led to the reassessment of the agreement.
In your sports news, it's the LPL. Goal Gladiators became the second team to qualify for the play-offs of this year's edition of Lanka Premier League after defeating Dambula Giants in a tightly contested game at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo last night. With Jaffna Kings being the other team to qualify for the play-offs, the Colombo Stars and Kandy Warriors will fight it out to claim the last spot in the play-offs. Dambula Giants are almost certain to finish in the top four. And thank you for watching. You can always log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk, for all these stories and much more. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara, along with our producer Martin Satyanesan. Thank you for watching and have yourself a great day ahead.
News First bulletins live on YouTube. That's not all. The developments of news stories can be found on our YouTube channel as well. All you need to do is click on the subscribe button down below. Stay tuned to News First.
News First, your life, our news.